Tonight, I thought I'd like to share a few analogies that I've learned on this path. And these analogies, there's actually, I think there's three different ones. And actually, they all kind of fit together in this bigger mosaic type of analogies. So, I don't know if anyone's seen that video. There's actually a video I saw on the web. It's actually an ant. Scientists, they did a little experiment, and they took an ant and they tied the ant down with a little string. And then a bunch of other ants, they came and they saved that ant. They took the string off of him that was like holding him down, that was buried. Has anyone seen that video? You heard of it? So, what's that?
Seen ants fighting.
Ants fighting. Yeah, this one is actually where the ants kind of had compassion. Yeah. So I saw this a while ago, and I was reflecting on it. So that tendency to be a hero or to do something that's right despite a difficult circumstance, that quality's inherent in all of us to some degree. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight. There's actually another quality in Sanskrit. These two words, they actually rhyme. So one is called dhira and one is called vira. So in Sanskrit, vira means to be a hero, to be like hero, and dhira, it means to be cool, to be cool-headed. So this world, one of the most fundamental analogies that you will find in Sanskrit literature of India is an analogy about this world. The analogy given there is a forest fire. So has anyone seen a forest fire or been close to one? There's quite a bit actually up here in this area. Especially in Nevada, where I'm also from. There's like every summer there's a fire. Who started it? Nobody knows. So that analogy is given. Sometimes they call bamboo forest fire. So I guess, I've never seen it, but I've heard about it, that two bamboos, they can actually, the wind can strike them together so powerfully that a spark is actually generated. So some heat is actually generated from bamboos rubbing also, like if they're rubbing. And then a fire will actually start, a huge thing. So nobody actually caused it. So this bamboo fire just takes place. Nobody was looking for it or caused it. So that analogy is given about this world that we live in. There's problems in this world, in our life. They come to us, and nobody seeks them out. Nobody asks for them. And there seems to be like no cause for it. But actually there is a cause. Once I was, a long time ago, a few years ago, I was doing some laundry down here. Before we had a washer here, we used to go down the street, right? Yeah. So I was sitting on a chair, and I just threw my laundry in. I sat down to read, and a little boy comes up. He said, "You stole my chair." And I was like, "Oh, I did?" And he was like, "Yeah, I was sitting there. That chair's mine." And I said, "Okay, that's fair." So I moved. But I thought about that. Because actually I was studying these analogies, and it was like, that chair is mine. So is it really his? No. He came to the laundromat, and he sat there. He left to get a soda or something, and then somebody sat in it. And was like, "Hey, what's going on?" So we can all understand that principle, right? But let's say you go to like a concert or you go to some theater, and you're sitting down, and then somebody sits in your chair, and then you're like, "That chair is mine." But when the show's over, what would happen if you started taking the chair with you home? You're just like, "With my chair, it's my chair," right? So that's really significant, actually. This feeling that each and every one of us has inside, that it's a desire to like possess things. It's a desire to identify with something, that this material thing or this thing which I possess is going to help me. And not only is it going to help me, because it is helping me, I don't want it to go away. So we try to hang on to it, right? So that's so what happens when you get 8 billion people on the planet and everyone wants to claim something? then you have conflict, right? So we have this is a world of conflict that's personal, social, international. Like in other words, there's so much conflict. What are all the problems that people are worried about in politics and all these things? They're just conflicts. That's all they are. So that's what we are. Each of us, we're a unit of desire. So we're a unit of desire, and the more that we like try to possess something, then another living being's like, hey, wait, this is mine. Conflict arises. So that analogy is given compared to the bamboo. So the bamboo is like rubbing after some time, just in nature, that a fire starts. So fire, this is a very significant analogy. Forest fire, if you're ever trapped in a forest fire, forget it. You're not going anywhere. If it's covering all 4 directions, if anyone's been close to a bonfire even, it's very hot. Like you can only get so close before you just, like, you can't handle the heat. So this desire to control or to own things, it's very troublesome. It's a very troublesome thing that each one of us is going through. So there's another term here. It's called, it's a principle. It's actually a yogic principle that explains that everything is constantly changing. So therefore, the desire to own something or place your conscience on something is a troublesome process. Why? Because everything is changing, right? So everything's changing, and our desires, we have all these hopes and dreams, and if we meet people that help us fulfill our hope, or they encourage us in our hope, then they become a friend. And if somebody shoots down our hope, you're like, I'm going to do this, and they're like, you'll never do that. And they're like, God, this person's like my enemy. They're wishing ill. So according to these desires that we all have, they can be considered like ropes. We never usually think of a desire like a rope, but really that's what the situation is. The desire is you're trying to bind something, you're trying to secure something, isn't it? So in order to it can become, in other words, it can become very bewildering in our life because we don't know. In other words, we don't know like where to invest energy. So we want to invest energy. We only have so much energy in our life, and we want to invest it somewhere. But because things are always changing, then we get this burning inside. So there's 2 examples here. One is the forest fire, which is a conflict just naturally arises due to our desire to enjoy material things. And then the other one example is that fire. The forest fire is also kind of described as a poison. Like if you take poison, it's like burnt. It feels like it's burning inside. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this, where you wanted something so bad, but you could not have it. Does anyone experience that burning inside? It's like burning. It's like a fever. Some people describe, there was a whole list of things, I should have brought it. Perhaps next time we will. It's talking about what's the difference between love and infatuation. And then people gave different replies, and that was one of the things that a lot of people came up with was infatuation is kind of like just like this burning inside. It's like it's not satiated. Whereas love is kind of the opposite. It kind of makes all the anxieties in one's life like pacified, cooled down. So these material desires, actually, if we want to look at all the problems in our life, all the anxieties, it really comes down to this. It's that we're trying to control aspects of life that we have no control over. So that's really what it comes down to. And then everything else is just burning us like fire. It's anxiety. It's fear about the future. It's fear about our identity. It's fear how others will perceive us. It's fear, it's confusion, and it's frustration. So we usually don't see the connection oftentimes. We think, oh, how did this anxiety come into my life? But we didn't realize a lot of the times that we planted it there. So there's two, so I guess I'll leave that there. I just want to wrap up with 2 points, 2 positive points that we can kind of meditate on. So going back to this, these 2 terms, Vira and Dira, hero. Hero means one thing, and so Dira means to be, to see things as they truly are. This is what it means to be a Dira. In Sanskrit, means somebody who's sober or cool-headed. In other words, they can see things as they are. And what are those things as they are? That's that this world has so many obstacles to our desire. So, in other words, what does that indicate? We're not fully the controller. We're not fully able to control things in our life to go our way. So, in order to be happy, one has to know that and live by that principle. Simple. Like we're not the ultimate controller. So that's what Dira means. It means to see that this world, on a material level, on a physical level, is full of all kinds of misery, and it's temporary. This is the real reality. It's temporary. It doesn't last very long, and there's all kinds of miseries of the body and all these things. It's a fact, and the audacity to claim an object, say this is mine, for some time. Then what happens later? You can't take it with you. You're here for a short time. That same thing's still here, maybe after many, many generations. So in the big scheme of things, we're just a tiny portion of reality and time. So that's what it means to be a Dira. It means to just know reality. Like shit. So the other aspect, which is very important, is the more positive aspect. This is called the Vira. It means to be a hero. So to be a hero pretty much means one thing. What is a hero? Pretty much. Like what would you define as hero?
Saves other people, or defeating.
He saves other people, definitely.
Defeating the evil forces.
There's usually something that goes along with saving a person, right? Like what's a situation that a person becomes a hero? You had something?
Oh, I was gonna say a hero. I would think somebody that does something selfless to help another person in some very big, important way.
Yes, and well, it's in the midst of some crucial time, a crucial situation. Mm-hmm. That's really what it means to be a hero. Mm-hmm. So Dira means to have clear vision. It means to see life for what it is. It's not going to last forever. The body's frail. There's a lot of things that we just don't like about life. There's a lot of things that we're forced to deal with and we don't like. So being a hero means in the midst of that crucial situation, you do the right thing. So this is what really the main point is, and I'll just end it here, and we can open up for discussion. The main point is that oftentimes when we do get a little clarity just about the realities of this world, the stark realities that just pop up, we often want to find the easiest and cheapest way out. And we don't necessarily, we may know